Be a big party. All right. Next we have a presentation and overview of the Lakeport Town Hall on homelessness and mental illness. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you're aware, and I believe the majority of the council members were at the town hall meeting on September 27th, I'm sorry, regarding homelessness and mental illness in our jurisdiction. For members of the public, I just want to mention that, again, that town hall meeting was live streamed. Once it was completed, that live stream stays on our YouTube channel, so it can still be accessed by members of the public if they wish to go back and watch that. And last I checked, several hundred more people had viewed it since the week of the meeting. But the purpose tonight is just to kind of give an overview of what we did at the town hall meeting and allow council the opportunity to, discuss it in more detail. I know council wasn't able to, it wasn't a council meeting at that time, so weren't able to, have detailed discussion on it. So that opportunity could happen tonight. But to start out, and for information on people that are here or online that may have not have been there, basically it was a 4-part meeting conducted by the police department, the city, Lake Family Resource, and Lake County Behavioral Health. We went over dispelling common myths on homelessness. We talked about public safety legislative changes in detail over the past decade. We talked about an overview of the American mental health treatment system going back more than 50 years on what it was at the time, what it's changed to, and some of the challenges we have today based on the current system. We then went over legal impacts on prosecution, which there are many that are barriers to dealing with some of the quality of life crimes that we have here in our jurisdiction. Further barriers to law enforcement efforts, problem-oriented policing response, de-escalation and crisis intervention, non-criminal options that we're going over, in particular with our crisis response team from Lake Family Resource Center. And then we went over future plans and how the community can help, and the goal of being a functional zero with homelessness, which doesn't mean that we wouldn't have any, but it would mean that it would be few and short term, because we would have the infrastructure and the programs in place to resolve it more quickly. So it was really a main goal of ours to hold this meeting and engage the community on these very complex issues with homelessness and mental illness, and to give the community a chance to have their voices heard. We didn't want anyone to walk away without feeling like they had a chance to have their voice and provide input. It was also important to us, the team working on this for the last 4 some odd months, to hopefully get engagement and feedback from the community on where do we go from here? What's the next step? Because we knew that, just holding this meeting, what was not going to be the end. We have to continue to take more steps forward in this process if we're really going to have a major significant impact on the problems. So I think, I feel like, we got a lot of wide-ranging feedback from the community. We are still going through all that and responding to it. We're not finished with that yet, but the intent is to continue to respond to the community on the questions that came forward, and then focus on, the key things that we need to do, like getting the officer downtown in place, which we're hoping to have that fully implemented in May of next year. Getting the MOU with behavioral health secured, the new MOU, so that we can bring a mental health responder into the police department, have them working out of the police department, and work in conjunction with the current crisis responder system we have. also further engage. You know, there was an idea of a group downtown, kind of like a neighborhood watch type of a meeting, which, you know, we've had subsequent meetings with those folks. And at the end of this month, we'll be meeting with about 15 businesses that want to get involved in that. That just kind of got secured today. And then plans to have a follow-up town hall meeting in April of 2024. And so with the city manager, we're already starting. In week after next, we'll be having our first planning meeting to try to move that forward. We're trying to focus on that meeting, and this certainly won't be the last meeting. We plan to continue to engage this, but the idea with this next one is to probably have a panel of experts with all the different key pieces and services that are out there, so we can better explain those and engage with the community on those issues. But, you know, I think it's clear, and I want to highlight that, you know, prior to this meeting, we've been doing significant work on this issue since 2021. And that's when we started the crisis responder program. With that, we've had some very, very significant success stories. Only one of those was highlighted in the town hall. That was a young lady who was homeless and addicted to methamphetamine, who, by our crisis response and our police officers working with her, was able to get into a program, graduate 90 days later, is now in housing and off methamphetamine, and no longer a draw on police services as significant as it was. There are numerous others, you know, 2 examples of folks that were really in the category of being gravely disabled. These are folks that were the subject of more than probably 100 each calls for police service, and many reports, many arrests. In working with our program of behavioral health, those folks have now been, for a period of months and weeks, in programs and off the street. So those are very big successes, in my opinion, because they were also situations that were affecting our businesses significantly downtown. And there's been a couple others, just another significant one I'll cite, that we've now, as of yesterday, I think, gotten into a housing program. This is an individual we've worked with for over 2 years that initially started out theirself as being the subject of 100 police calls a year. So there's been some significant progress. And I think after this meeting that we did with all these items that I explained that we went over, we've got more community members willing to engage. And I think that was a big part of the goal, to get to more of a community-based response, more of a team of many agencies and groups that have a play in addressing this situation in the interest of keeping Lakeport safe and nice, and also providing for the needs of the unhoused and people suffering addiction and mental illness situations. I think it's a testament to our community, you know, wanting to be involved. We produced over 200 people in the audience at that meeting. That is significant compared to other public meetings that we've done. In addition to that, there was another 75 people online, and several hundred more have watched that meeting over the past couple of weeks. So I think those were the highlights. I want to give Kevin a chance to add in anything, and also believe we have Lisa Morrow online if she wants to add anything in. But I think that was the goal tonight, was kind of just give a brief overview of the meeting, not rehash the entire meeting, as most of you were there, and just kind of talk about the future of keeping this going.
Great.
Yeah, I wanted to start by thanking the community in general. I mean, this is a very heated topic. There's a lot of emotions involved in it. And I think everybody attended that meeting with an open mind and an opportunity to address issues, but also there was a lot of listening going on. And I think that set the stage very well for us to continue to move this work forward. And a big thank you to all of our partners and not only for their hard work to put this together, but they're going to stick with it and move these along to the next phases. So it was a great benchmarking opportunity for us. We have a lot of sort of next actions on the table that Brad kind of already mentioned, quite a few of them. And this was kind of a nice check-in spot with the community. It helps us prioritize those next actions. I think the biggest ones are, continuing to improve our PD staffing and getting up to a point where we can put that downtown officer back on the street to have those, more community interactions, not only with those experiencing homelessness and mental health related issues, but just the downtown businesses in general, so that they can be checked in with and heard and that the formation of a downtown sort of neighborhood watch type group, getting that MOU with behavioral health. But we've already started to hit some of the small things as well. Brad and his team put out a press release this past week. The number of people who were not aware of the need to have a trespassing letter on file annually with the police department. We got out, and I don't know, Brad, if you have a number of how many people who have already taken advantage of that piece. I mean, I'm sure it's those. I know, talking with the lieutenant earlier today, he said he's receiving a lot of calls and they're getting a lot of those pieces together.
Yeah, the response has been significant in the last few days.
So there's a number of different pieces like that. One of the other things we've looked, there's a lot of communities that have a homelessness business interaction guide of trying to develop more positive relationships between the two groups. I think there's a lot of good pieces that we can emulate in there. I think we need to probably sharpen our pencils a little bit and share with the community and be more active in the various lobbying efforts that there are to kind of enlighten our elected officials and our community members on the number of hurdles that have been placed in our path as local governments over the past few years in dealing with not only homelessness and mental health related issues, but crime in general. So there seemed to be quite a bit of positive feedback from folks to want to hear more information in there. So it was a great benchmarking opportunity for us. And as Brad said, we're going to continue this hard work. We're going to have monthly partnership meetings with our key team members, not only the folks that put together this town hall, but we identified some other folks to bring along in that process and keep this moving forward as well. So definitely want to hear council's feedback and if there are additional public feedback, but it's going to be hard work. It's going to be continuous work, but I think this was a great step forward and in providing us with direction.
I just want to jump in and congratulate you both and everyone else involved, that it was so incredibly well done. I know it was so much work to do it. You guys made it look really easy, that it was really well received. And I think the community did feel really good about it. In the room, it felt like a community coming together to work together, and they left learning a lot about what's going on and how they can make it better. So congratulations. I think other agencies are going to be duplicating what you did.
Thank you. One last thing and I'm not sure if Lisa wants to weigh in, hopefully, but another thing that's going to be significant is the fact that the new contractor taking over and the new what was the emergency warming shelter, what will transition into more of a regular homeless shelter, is going to be 24/7. Where for the last year we've been dealing with just an overnight kind of a warming type shelter, but with the 24/7, it's going to give more ability to people to have more of a to stay focused and be more connected to some of the services, and hopefully transition out of that to the next step in their life to move more towards more transitional housing.
Great.
And that's going to be a huge impact for us because a lot of the residents there, you know, a significant number of them are coming out of our city.
Yeah,
So-
that'll make a big difference.
And Lisa, do you want to comment? Maybe she doesn't.
Hey, yeah, yes, thank you. Sorry, I was on trying to find the right button. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi, Lisa.
Hi there. Gosh, what do I say? I wasn't prepared. So I just first wanted to echo what everyone else said about the what both Brad and Kevin said about the town hall. I thought it went really well. It was very one of my biggest takeaways was you know, the care and compassion that our community has for the people that live in it. I wasn't sure that that was really the feeling, and it was very validating for me to hear folks say, you know, we really care and what can we do to help. So that was a great takeaway for me. And yes, I would absolutely agree as far as the warming shelter becoming a 24/7 shelter and the skills and capabilities that RCS will be bringing to that facility, I think is going to make all of the difference in the world, because they will be able to get assistance while they're there. So I think those were the two things you wanted me to comment on, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak and also the opportunity for myself and my organization to be a part of the process. So thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Anyone else from the public?
I'm going to echo and reinforce a lot of the comments that were already made. Got a couple of notes from listening to everybody talk here. First of all, I want to start with the association really wants to thank the city and commend the leadership for hosting this, and thanking the community for participating in that room, in that town hall. The temperature in that room was very interesting, and seeing everybody participate, even though everyone had a different lens about these issues, was really refreshing overall. I have another note here too. I mean, Lakeport's a small town, but we're not small thinking, and we look at big solutions and hard solutions. And I think this meeting was a really reflection of that. Members of our department encounter these issues frequently. I think everybody knows that. Many of these interactions are unseen by the general public. The steps that my partners take are often unseen because it happens at 3 or 4 in the morning. So I don't see us working with that transient house person and trying to get them a coffee because they've been trespassed from everywhere in town. And I think echoing what Chief and Lisa mentioned, the 24/7 nature now of the shelter is going to make a big difference in this community. I'm really optimistic that the community came away from the town hall better educated on the complexity of dealing with those suffering from mental health and or homelessness. As was already discussed, it's a very highly complex subject. It requires a multifaceted approach to solve. I'm very proud personally to work for a city and department that proactively partners with a multidisciplinary team to address these issues. We already do that, and hopefully that came across to the general public. We've partnered with government and non-governmental organizations to deal with these folks on a daily basis and to engage in what's called wraparound services. Our effort and the vision from the chief and the city is not merely enforcement, it's trying to offer help. Enforcement's the last step in a very, very long chain of events with these people, and I want to make sure that the public and the council understands that. I really look forward to the future discussions and forums of the community and hope that the public continues to engage with us as they did in that meeting. Thank you.
Great job. I know he does deserve clapping. I agree.
Madam Mayor, if I can add just one
Yeah.
more thing going forward. I mean, I think what was also very reassuring from the openness that we received from the community is, you know, Chief has said this on many occasions, that this is by far one of the most complicated public policy issue that we're facing. There are not any easy solutions. There's not any really quick solutions. And I think it's very reassuring for us at the implementation level to know that we have the community support, because we're gonna have to try a lot of different things. Some of them may not work so well. And so, I mean, having that patience and commitment to know that try something, if it doesn't work, that we gotta go and, you know, and pivot to a different direction and go a different way is reassuring to know that people are understanding and flexible to that, because this is an ever evolving situation, and we've tried to separate that fact out, and it's very difficult to do that, not to punish the condition, but we need to do things to dissuade some of the negative behaviors, and that's we're always walking a very hard line in separating those two.
Anyone else from the public? Do we have any hands raised?
No hands raised.
All right, bring it back to council.
So, thanks to the city, I've been able to go to the California League of Cities a number of times. And, what occurred to me was, I was in a session and they were talking about a big city, and they got this, like something like, Phil Lewis Hall, and then they got all this food donated, and they got all this taken care of. And then they had policies where they weren't going to look for felony or criminals, and they were going to do all this stuff. And as they were scrolling through all the benefits of this seemed like a great endeavor, they said that they had 6 full-time officers and a sergeant. And when I got back from the session, I said, Chief, isn't that about $1 million a year just for security? My point is that when you have a warming center, and I mean, being on the council, all my fellow council members can tell us, my wife was telling me last night, I mean, what about the streets and what about this? And, these types of facilities do not come without exorbitant costs. And it's so nice when you have outside agencies, service clubs and things like that chime in and help out, physically and monetarily, because the city is not really equipped to be, whipping out $1 million to take care of housing costs for people that have, got a lot of problems. And one of the things I hear as a council member over and over is that, we're supposed to be able to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the right to run a business, uninhibited and without being crime riddled on a daily basis. And so I think sometimes the businesses are really frustrated at what's going on. And one of the questions I would ask, I saw a video about Seattle was dying. Okay. And I know that, we got AB 109, Prop 47, Prop 57, that's literally handcuffed our own police officers in so many ways. But there was a point in there where there was 100 frequent flyers. They call them 100 frequent flyers. And they had on average 37 misdemeanors and felonies. And I'd like to ask the chief, is there a point in time? I mean, you mentioned 3 people that each one of them were responsible for 100 police calls. That's 300 police calls. And if someone's in dire need of something and you're wrapped up with a homeless person, I mean, it impacts our ability to save lives and to deal with maybe more major crimes than homelessness. But is there a point in time where the district attorneys or the judges can say, hey, listen, I know the law used to be 3 misdemeanors, now it's a felony, now we can do something. These people had 37 accumulated felonies and misdemeanors on average. Is there a point where these people can actually step in and do something to save the local police force and the business people that are being harassed in this way, and say, hey, listen, that's enough. You're going to go to county jail for a month, or, go into rehab or something? That would be my first question.
We're really hamstrung right now with the condition of the state laws, and it's very, very complex. We tried to go over this at the town hall meeting with, a lot of the crime changes. The prior crimes don't serve anymore as, a charging situation, like where in the past, where if you had 3 priors of a theft, you could now be charged with a felony. That's all gone away. And with these propositions, the ability to charge priors in many cases is eliminated now too. So until we get more changes in the state law, that's going to be difficult. And the jails are full with people serving prison sentences. We don't have the same ability to hold people accountable for misdemeanor crimes, what I would call quality of life crimes, because they're affecting people's ability to run a business, people's ability to enjoy their neighborhoods. Those are generally misdemeanor crimes which we don't have a lot of ability to hold people accountable for any longer. So
I think the question I'm asking is, so there's never a threshold where you could have, 10 or 15 misdemeanors and, 5 or 6 felonies, and they can say, I think we've had enough of this, and I think it's in the public interest that you need to go away and get detoxed
well, there are some limited circumstances where we can do that, and we have done it. We've personally carried a case to the DA and say, we got to try to do something different on this one. We have had a few successes with that, but there's no general ability to do that anymore. So we have to present a case by case basis to try to get a prosecution on a misdemeanor. It's very difficult now with the state of the laws that we have. And that's, I think, why, the city manager mentioned we need to get more active in telling the state legislature that they should not push this law through, whatever the case may be. We've done that before on 4757. The council did weigh in and make, letters saying that should not be passed, but we weren't heard or listened to. But we need to continue to pay attention to some of those things and weigh in on letting the state know how that's impacting our people, our businesses, our neighborhoods. Because these propositions 47 and 57 have significantly impacted our ability to hold people accountable.
Yeah, and I just like to let people that are listening, anybody that's here that doesn't know, I chimed in and asked the city attorney about this. Prop 47, Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act, and Prop 57, Public Safety and Rehabilitation Act. People that don't read their ballots and don't recognize the fact that every single law enforcement agency in the state opposed those. They didn't even turn to that page. They read the fraudulent title that was put on the ballot, which I think it's fraud. It should not have been allowed, but he said that the Secretary of State says whoever puts it on the ballot can name it. That is utter and total fraud. And now we are with people that didn't bother to read their voter pamphlet and see that every law enforcement agency in the state opposed it. And they both passed because they have a flowery, colorful, beautiful title. Who doesn't want safe neighborhoods and schools? Who doesn't want Public Safety and Rehabilitation Act? That is criminal that they were able to put fraudulent titles on a ballot for many voters that never open their book. All they want to do is vote against the president or the supervisor or the city council member. And that's just a shame.
Oh my gosh, the timer went off.
Yeah, that was it. That's all I can say.
Any other comments?
I said it for 15 minutes.
Anything?
I'll make a quick comment.
Okay.
I enjoyed the evening. It was well attended. It was presented well. I appreciate the chief for his participation in it, and that the community came out, and I felt like it really was well received, and it was a worthwhile endeavor to be there. And anybody that hasn't seen it should go back and find it. I believe it's on a YouTube video, the city.
Lakeport Police Department YouTube channel.
Yeah, terrific.
If they just search YouTube, Lakeport Police Department, we should pop right up. It is the top video on there.
Yeah.
We don't add a lot of videos on there, so it'll be prominently displayed at the top for quite some time.
Yeah, I've
So-
been asked by a couple of the citizens in town for that YouTube address, and they have watched it. And so it will continue to serve the community. I
Perfect.
appreciated
Yes.
that evening.
And I just lastly, I say that I've been contacted, I'm still getting contacted, and we're 2 weeks in now with feedback on that meeting. So I think it's really out there in the community.
Good job.
Great job, Chief. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.